how to rebuild your Subaru Sambar brake calipers. So first you gotta remove them from the vehicle, obviously. Hopefully you can figure out how to do that. And then remove the bleeder screw and then pull all the seals off using a little metal pick or something, and just, try your best to not scratch up the surfaces at all. For this big seal around the piston, you have this little split ring that you just pop off, and then again you remove that seal with the pick. So now we got to get the slide pins out, and that can be pretty difficult depending on how bad yours are gummed up. These ones were gummed up pretty bad, so I had use like the plastic handle of one of my tools to push down on it to get it out for some of them. But just, maybe use some WD-40 or whatever penetrating fluid to help work them along and go until you can get them popped out. Next up, we can remove the 4 O-rings. There's 2 each in each of the cylinders where those slide pins go. So again, just being somewhat careful with a little metal pick, you can pop all 4 of those out. So next up, we're gonna clean it. I just used some degreaser and a wire brush, but obviously you could do a better job than I did. I was just going for good enough. So maybe if you have a sandblaster or power tools or whatever, you get it a bit cleaner than I did. But yeah, so after that, we'll tape off all the seal areas, especially the banjo bolt and the bleeder screw, and then we can go and paint it. So I used this black Caliper paint that I got from the auto store. Gave it a good coat or 2. Maybe you could even do 3. Yeah, then I went ahead and I got the slide pins and the brake pad retention pieces, and I cleaned those up with a scrubber in the sink. I see I got a little rust on there. I'm going to deal with that later. So then I needed to get the main piston out, so I just used an air compressor, tighten down the bleeder, and then put it in the banjo bolt hole and blow away at it, and it should shoot right out. Just be careful you don't have your fingers in the way, because it shoots out with a lot of force when it does, so you don't want to break any bones. Now we can remove the final seal, which this could have been done before painting. Obviously, I just happened to do it after because that's when I got access to the air compressor. But yeah, it's the piston seal. So go ahead and remove that, again, carefully with a pick. And then we're going to put the new one in. And this seal does not need to be greased. It actually should not be greased, at least according to all the research I have done and seen, because I guess the brake fluid itself will do that. So if you put grease on it, it can contaminate the brake fluid and mess stuff up. So pop that new one in, pretty easy, and then press the piston back in. This was easy on this pair of calipers. For the last pair I did, it was pretty hard, and I had to kind of use some leverage devices to press the piston back in, but do what you got to do. Try and get that piston all the way back down in there. And then we can throw the seal on. Goes on kind of the way it came off. It's a little tricky to get it around the lip. But then once you get that on, of course, take that retaining ring and put the retaining ring back on just how it was. Finally, for the slide pins, we can grab that included grease that comes with your brake rebuild kit. And I just went ahead and I put some in there with my finger. Then we grab the O-rings, again 4 in each caliper. Oh, also the bleeder cap screw, it comes with a new one, so you can toss that on. Those bleeder screws are M7 by 1.0 if you want to get some new ones from the auto store. I did. So yeah, grease it up a little bit and then pop those O-rings in. I'm kind of rubbing grease on the O-rings before I put them in, make sure it's all lubed up right. So I didn't get any footage of it, but there is that like third ring in the center in the slide pin area. And after I got the 2 O-rings in and the outer rings, I completely packed that inner ring with grease before putting the slide pins in. If you have any little rusty bits on the slide pin, I just use some super fine sandpaper to kind of smooth it out a little bit, make it better. Put those in, and then it's time for the seals. So you can see there's 2 different kinds of seals. The one that pops out goes on the back side, and the one that's flat will go on the side where the brake pads are, as you can see there in that video. So pop those on there. Again, kind of tricky. I don't really have any tips for that other than figure it out. But you get those seals on and throw your pads and retainers back on and you're done. Whoop-de-doo. Nice, fresh, clean, excellent brake calipers. So if you want to replace your brake lines too, here's how. We'll start with the front. Get yourself a 10mm flare nut wrench. Please don't try and use a regular wrench. And remove the hard line from where it connects to the soft line. And then this little clip thingy, you gotta pop it out, like I'm trying to demonstrate there. Using like pliers or a screwdriver or something, it just pops outwards. Then you can remove the top part of the soft line out of there. And then behind your shock, strut, suspension bit, there's a bolt right there that you got to remove. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. And then you can also pull the banjo bolt out from the brake caliper if it's not already out because your brakes are off. Then you can, if you have a new banjo bolt, go and throw the little copper washer on the one side, put it in like so in your new brake line, and then the copper washer on the other side. Again, I would definitely recommend getting a new banjo bolt and new copper washers to prevent leaks. And then with your new caliper in place, like hopefully you know how to do, you can tighten that down on there snug. And then my custom brake lines didn't come with like a threaded clip thingy, so I had to use a just regular bolt and nut to attach it onto the suspension. And you pop the other end of the soft line up into that clip area, noting that it's keyed. Go ahead and pop your retaining ring back on. It is kind of hard to get on there, so you can see here I can't even push it on by hand, so you'll need to use a mallet or something to whack it in there. And of course, yeah, you can start this with a regular wrench, tightening that hard line back down on. But definitely, again, please finish it with a flare nut wrench. Otherwise, you're greatly risking stripping that out and never being able to get it off again. So to replace the rear lines, quite similar. So on the driver's side, we have this very short line. It's same gist. Basically 2 of the retaining clip things with the hard lines on either side. So if you did it on the front, you'll be able to figure out how to do it on the back. And then in the passenger side, it's again another short line. One side is that retaining clip sort of system, but then the other side is actually a male connecting that threads into that little like Y T block. So you'll need to undo the retaining clip side first, pull it out of there, and then you'll be able to unthread the male side because the whole thing will spin when you do that. And then when you go and install the new one, just install the male side first, tighten it down, and then go pop the that female retaining clip part back in and tighten the hard line down onto it. And then of course just bleed your brakes like you bleed your brakes. Plenty of information on the internet about how to do that, and you're good. Nice and easy. All new rebuilt brake calipers and brand new brake lines. Yay, safety. Enjoy.